All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's spotlight on autism interview. And tonight we have, wait a minute, let me start this up. The pleasure of interviewing Yolanda Brannon. Did I say that right?
That's
Brannon?
right. You got it
Okay,
right.
okay. Of Above All Consulting. So we will talk to her a little bit about her life with her daughter, Danielle, right?
That's right.
And she will share with us what she does and about her business.
Mhm.
So, she is a mother of a daughter on the spectrum, Danielle, who was diagnosed at 4, and her
Mhm.
journey includes having an understanding of her diagnosis when information about autism was relatively new. She ignorantly tried many things to cure.
Uh-oh.
Um, I think a lot of us did that.
Okay. I didn't know any better. I didn't know.
I was there.
Yeah.
Eventually accept her uniqueness and giftedness.
Yeah.
She now advocates for early intervention and inclusion in classrooms and was an early childhood educator
Yeah.
and saw firsthand how teachers didn't give children with differences a fair chance to learn.
Mhm.
All right. So, one second. DeAndre,
Love it. Love it.
DeAndre, can you move? And I tell you guys, it's very informal. She is
Yes.
friendly.
Love that. Just told my daughter, I was like, you can come in if you need to. Because
Yes.
normally when I have my door closed, she's like, yeah,
Can't come in.
you can't come
Okay.
in.
So
Yeah.
take us back. Take us back to when
Yeah.
you first got your daughter's diagnosis
Yes.
and what were your emotions
Yeah.
and the questions you faced at the time.
Yeah. So definitely a different time. I mean, we've come a long way, I think, with understanding or knowing about autism. We still have a long way to go, right? But
Mhm.
definitely, so my daughter's 22.
Okay.
Okay. And so when she was 4, there were signs of delays.
Hmm.
I did not know about autism, but I'm going to tell you, and I'm dating myself, when Oprah had her TV show
Hmm.
years ago,
Hmm.
she had a panel of experts and she introduced autism. And
Okay.
my mom, I didn't see the episode, my mom viewed it, but after watching Oprah that day, she called me up and she was like, hey, I was watching Oprah today. And there was a panel of people and they were talking about this thing called autism. And I said,
Mm.
autism, what is that? And she said, I don't know, but it sounds a lot like Dee Dee, you know, like not making eye contact, not talking. We would expect her to do a lot more because, you know,
Right.
you're comparing her to other children. And she
Mm.
is an only child, granted, you know,
Okay.
but still, you know, around enough of friends, children, relatives, children, we
Mm.
expected more. And so
Mm.
I knew in my gut, Nita, it was something. Even if
Yeah.
I was in denial, you know, I
Mm.
think a mom knows.
Yeah.
And so after my mom talked to me about it, I decided to get her tested. And of course, I talked to other people. I had her in daycare,
Okay.
a home daycare, and I talked to the owner who luckily had been a part of an infant toddler program. And so she really encouraged me to get her tested, evaluated, just to see if there were some delays and what I could get as support for her. And after having her tested, they diagnosed her with autism. And so that kind of started my journey of just learning more and more like, what is this? You know, what would her, will her future look like? What can I do? And back then we thought, we looked at autism as a problem, you know,
Mm.
so we tried different things. So let's see, I read Jenny McCarthy's book because her son was
Yeah.
cured.
Yeah.
I would put things in her bath to get all of the toxins.
Accents. Yeah.
Yeah, remember? Okay, so yeah, of course, gluten-free diet, that's a given, you know.
Mm.
And then had people at church praying for me and her, you know,
Mm.
just all kinds of things because just ignorantly I did not know.
Yeah.
Um, and so I grew in my capacity and learning about it and
Mm.
acceptance, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
At the time, you know, her dad, I was married at the time, and her dad, you know, he, when I first mentioned it to him, he's like, I don't want to hear it. Don't even say it. Don't you dare. you know. And so kind of had to work through that as well. But
Mhm.
in time, I learned more. Now, ironically, sort of parallel to all of this, I was a classroom teacher, a preschool
Okay.
teacher for Head Start. So
Oh,
that's my background. I'm a Head
okay.
Start advocate. And
Mhm.
I've always worked in Head Start classrooms, and I was a teacher. And I remember having children with delays to come into the classroom. And I remember teachers just sort of being kind of resentful that
Yeah.
children, why aren't they potty trained? Or why can't they talk? Or why are they here? They should be in a different setting, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I was always sympathetic, to
Okay.
those children and families. So I think at the same time to get my own diagnosis and then be working in child care, so to
Yeah.
speak. It just
Mhm.
sort of kind of all came together. And
Okay.
so, along with my journey with my daughter, just getting her supports, I was advocating in the classroom. So, with getting my daughter support, which is why I've kind of zoned in on the educational side, there were times I couldn't get her in the, after school. I would share with them my daughter has autism. The after school would say, "I'm sorry, we can't accommodate." They
Wow.
would never, yeah. We were turned away from other child care, centers before we found some child care centers
Right.
before we found, because I think people a lot of times it was so new and they didn't know, like, will they have behaviors? Will I be
Mm.
able to accommodate? They just didn't know. And so
Right.
they just never, and I had to work. I mean, I
Mm.
needed someone to watch my child. And unless you have a relative or a good friend, I mean,
Mm.
parents, rely on child care.
Yes,
So
definitely.
I think that's just sort of, and then I had the days of the call, come pick up your daughter. I
Mm.
think a lot of parents with children on the spectrum, they get the call, the dreaded call. Your child is acting up, or we can't handle them.
I still
So
get those calls,
right.
and he's 19.
See, right. And there's so many families who I talk to
Mhm.
all the time. And they're like, "You're
Mhm.
kicking my kid out. I have to work." Or they
Right.
say that my kid can't come unless I come. Like, I'm
Mm.
working. So
Oh, wow.
it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's really bad. It's
Mhm.
it's bad. But back to Danielle, I mean, some highs and lows. We ended up, let's see, I kept her in school up until 21 here in North Carolina. They can
Mhm.
stay in school, public school, until 22.
Okay.
So just took her out 21 because I felt like it was babysitting at
Yeah.
some point.
Mhm.
She's been in self-contained, so a separate setting since I think the third grade. I
Okay.
tried to mainstream her, as long as I could. And I just saw where, she just needed more supports.
Okay.
And that
So
was hard. That was hard.
I know. I
Mhm.
can understand. So
Yeah.
let's go back to the trying to fix it part. What was your mindset, your mind frame? What were you thinking when you
Yeah.
wanted to fix her? And
Yeah.
then when was that, okay, enough, I'm gonna embrace this? When did what made you say, okay, this is enough? I'm gonna embrace.
So this again, I always believe in divine connections and things.
Okay.
I have a best friend whose daughter has cerebral palsy,
Okay.
and she's much older than I am.
Okay.
And so I just remember just her journey with her daughter.
Hmm.
And she told me at one point, she said, I finally had to accept that this is my daughter will be as she is.
Hmm.
We would have these candid conversations. I would vent, I would share my frustrations because nothing seemed to work. I still couldn't fix her. She wasn't getting better,
Right.
you know. And so just I'm crying, feeling sorry for myself, feeling sorry for my child. I'm wondering, is it something I did that I drank too much tea, too much caffeine? I shouldn't have eaten this. You know how you blame yourself. It's me. I did it. I did it. You know.
Those stages of grief you go
Oh,
through.
so much grief,
Yeah.
so much grief. Trying to find a school for her. I would try private schools, gifted schools, because
Okay.
she can play music by ear.
Okay.
And so I
Talented.
was, yeah, so I thought about a gifted school. And I remember she was young. I went to this school and I told them that she has autism, private school, and I
Okay.
thought that they would welcome her and they did not. They
Oh,
said they
wow.
couldn't accommodate. And I remember being in the car just crying. And I looked at my rearview mirror and she was sitting in the back seat. She was looking at me like, why are you crying? you know. But that's just an example of just the frustration because you're trying to find a place for your child to belong,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes the public schools isn't a great fit.
Right, right.
And
Mhm.
so, and I will say, I have my brother and his wife, my nephew, is nonverbal. So he
Okay,
also has autism. And so they've elected to homeschool. So
okay.
for them, that's their journey and what they decided to do. And I'm finding a lot of parents are sort of taking that on. They don't really feel that the public schools are doing,
Yeah,
the
it's a
child
lot of
justice.
parents are homeschooling now, a
Homeschool,
lot.
a lot of
Yeah,
homeschooling. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, but with my journey with Danielle, I think finally just having those network of friends who just kept it real
Mhm.
with me is like, come on, this is probably it. I never want to say that she has reached her full potential because even at 22, she has not. Because
Mm,
every day I see growth,
yeah,
I see new things. But when it comes to public schools, when you want your child to be able to at least go through high school. I mean, I would have loved college, for her,
okay.
but I just had to be. I remember in those IEP meetings, I used to hate that question. What do you see for your child? You know how they start off the meeting.
Mm,
Like, well, I don't know. What do you want for your child? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I want her I think I finally resolved to always say I want her to reach her fullest potential. I
okay.
want her to be productive in
Uh,
life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, but I was fortunate to have a caseworker who helped me. We received now the innovations waiver. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No,
Yeah, that's through Medicaid.
okay.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
probably something for your state, maybe.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's in many states.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would
Which
say
you'll have to share that
I
again
will
with me
share
so we
that
can.
because
Yeah.
with the waiver, I believe it's in all states.
Okay.
When
Okay.
your child reaches a certain age, I believe it's 21, 22. If
Okay.
you will be on a wait list because so many people want the waiver. We were on a
Mhm.
wait list for about 10 years for her, to give you an example. But
10
I
years.
believe every state has it. Every state.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow,
But
that's a long time.
every state's wait list is different.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe where are you? Are you Maryland? Virginia?
I'm Michigan.
Michigan. Oh wow, I
Mhm.
didn't know. Okay. So it just yeah, I'll send you the link. I'll send you
Okay.
the link. And so what will happen is Medicaid will support them housing
Mm,
with a person to shadow them and work. If
okay.
they are in a housing complex for people with disabilities, they'll send someone in to help them with chores
Okay.
to make sure that living is as independent
Oh,
as
we do have something,
so maybe by a different name.
similar. Yeah.
Okay,
But
okay.
because now that you're saying it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. But just in case
Mhm.
I'm still singing the link, just in
Yep,
case.
yep.
Okay.
There's
And
so many different programs you have to say, "Oh, I don't."
I know it's a lot, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. There's so many different programs out there, and
Uh-huh.
really, you want to. And my advocacy is early intervention because of
Okay.
preschool. Yeah,
Mhm.
as early as possible. You
Yeah.
want to get your child
We
connected.
gonna get to that in one
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Let me
So,
ask you this before we move on to early intervention.
okay.
So now with your daughter's diagnosis,
Hmm.
if you knew then what you know now,
Hmm.
name one thing that you would have done differently.
Oh, I think early on celebrate her uniqueness
Mhm.
and just really, I mean, I think I do a good job with just letting her know how special she is. But I think I would have not wasted so much time and money in
Okay.
trying to fix her. Some of that stuff is expensive.
Mhm.
But I think I would have celebrated. When I train now teachers, educators, I had a training Monday. In fact, I said
Uh-huh.
I believe the millennials, and then I think it's Z after that, and
Yep,
then just
Gen
think
Z.
about our great 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 grandchildren. Their
Mhm.
whole mentality is going to be so different. It's
Oh,
going to be.
very
I mean,
different.
they're going to probably come to us and be like, "Oh, this
Very
is my
different.
friend Emily. Oh, yeah, she has autism." I mean, it won't even be a big deal. But like my generation and the older ones, and I
Uh-huh.
shared with them like back in the day, I think autism has always been around. This is my theory because I had the
Yeah.
teachers Monday. They were like, "Hey, what's different? Why are they us?" So, like growing up, we always had the relative in the back room. We
Yeah.
never let that
Yeah.
relative out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Or we
Or you
always had
always seen that kid come out the house and get on the van
the
for
little
the week.
short bus or the
Yeah.
van,
Mhm.
and we would say they're slow or
Mhm. Yeah.
special.
And
You
see, we
know,
didn't know any better.
we didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
didn't know. I think it has always been around. And so, yeah, what I would have done differently is I would do more of what I think the younger generations are doing it, and they're celebrating the uniqueness. And
Yes.
they're saying, this is awesome. Yeah, my child has autism, and this is what
Mhm.
they can do. And it's just a different mindset.
Yes.
And I just think that sets our children up for just success and to
Mhm.
realize they're not the problem, but society is the one who has the barriers for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that needs to stop. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I probably would have done a better job with that. But trust
Yeah.
me, I ask her now, you special? Mm-hmm. You know, and she's good. She is good. Yeah.
So now let's get into early intervention.
Yes.
So, um, why is it important? Um, as a mother, as an educator, what is your
Mhm.
look on early intervention? Talking to other parents, why is it important?
So important, yeah. Well, early intervention, I think, is key because of the support and services that our children could receive, and then therefore help them to thrive sooner, even on a higher level, just
Okay.
because of just that exposure and support,
Hmm.
right? You want to be able to get services as early as possible because you never know. It is a spectrum. And
Yes.
so the needs of our children, it really differs, right? There's
Hmm.
well, not one child is alike another. And
Hmm.
so with those services, to me, it just really prepares them. It gives them that support that they need to be able to, again, grow and to develop, and it doesn't really stifle them. You know,
Hmm.
I just think it's just key for parents and also for parents too to understand the disability and to be able to work
Yeah.
alongside the educator so that
Okay.
our children are getting those experiences and the support, that knowledge that they
Hmm.
need. It really makes a difference, I
Okay.
believe, to get. So if a child perhaps needs speech or occupational therapy because of sensory processing challenges, or even physical therapy because of low muscle tone, because generally a lot of our children do, have challenges that are unlike other sets of
Hmm.
children. And so we want to get those therapies in place so that they can get better, so that they can improve and have
Hmm.
more of a level ground. Yeah,
Okay.
to be able to.
Oh, so what are some now today? What are some of the misconceptions, or what is a misconception that you've heard about early intervention?
Yeah, that it doesn't matter. So when I talk to parents, they'll say, I've actually had parents say, well, you know what, I was always a little slow. You know, my brothers were slow and we turned out just fine. You know,
Oh, wow.
seriously, yeah.
Wow.
Or they're comparing them to other children. It's not going to make a difference. It'll just work itself out.
Right,
You
right.
know, just give them time. And, we don't really want to gamble with time. If we can get those supports in place, why not go ahead and give them the support?
Yeah.
Because you never know. And we say we turned out just fine, but did we turn out just fine? Oh, no. I don't know. That's subjective. So yeah, I just think parents don't think it's necessary. They'll
Mhm,
grow out of it.
mhm. Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and then I think it's that stigma too. Like
Mhm,
maybe I'm a little ashamed.
mhm,
Cultures are different. You
mhm.
know, yeah. So if I don't deal with it, if I don't actually consider these services, then that means I don't that my child doesn't need the services. It's that denial,
Yeah,
right? Which is a part of the
yeah,
grief,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I
Yes,
think that's the yeah, That's the main thing. And it could be cost too, but honestly, there are a lot of resources out there that can take care of the cost of those therapies. But I think it's an assumption that it can be expensive,
Yeah. Mm.
so that too. Yeah.
Plays a part.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So coming in as an educator,
Hmm.
what would you how what would you say is how can a parent better advocate for services or education or intervention for their children?
Yeah. Yeah.
Seeing it on your side as an educator, I know as a mother, but on your side as an educator, what
Hmm.
would you say parents can do to better advocate for their
Yeah,
children?
great question. I definitely communicate with the teacher.
Okay.
Don't just so in the younger years, we drop them off. We
Yeah.
sign them in and drop them off. So I'm talking from an early childhood perspective first.
Mhm.
So don't just drop off your kid, throw them in the classroom, and just kind of wait. You're on your cell phone, you're signing them in and you're out. It really takes the time. Good morning, and to talk to the teacher, be present in conferences. You want to have those parent teacher conferences. You want to check in and know the status of your child's learning. I have a good friend, she's a high
Definitely.
school teacher, so we can flip it all the way on high school. So I
Mhm.
have a good friend who's a retired high school teacher, but one of her frustrations was the children, a lot of her students would start having poor grades, and then the parents will call her or email her like, "Why is my child making an F? Why are they not doing well?" And she's like, "Well, you can actually get in this portal and check and see your child's grades." So in other
Right.
words, I believe parents should
Get
know
involved.
100%. Know what's going on. And I
Mhm.
always say, let them see you. Even
Mhm.
when my daughter was in middle school, I mean, they knew me when I walked into school. Hey, Miss, hey, how you?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
I
Let
make
let
sure that
have that face. Make sure they see that face.
they
I'm
know
here.
they know you're coming. They know you're going to ask questions
Uh-huh.
because you're going to be involved.
Uh-oh, here she come.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And I used to acknowledge teachers too, like for holidays and things. It wouldn't be much, even if it's the dollar store. I would give them a little something. I really appreciate you. It
Mhm,
works. Trust me.
mhm.
Oh, you care. Oh, believe it or not, so I really try to make sure they know who I am and know
Yeah,
that I can pop up at any time. And that
anytime.
I'm going to ask questions, even if we can't see face to face, maybe an email. Sometimes I would get the teacher's phone numbers, a quick text. I
Mhm.
got in so good with some of Danielle's high school teachers. Before taking her to school, Danielle would be FaceTiming her teachers. Hey, I'm on my way to school. And I would be like, who are you talking to, Danielle? Like they really loved her, honestly. I was fortunate, but we just had that relationship. I would stay over. I would ask them, do you guys need anything for the classroom? Maybe some Clorox wipes, some Kleenex. What do you? I was one of those parents.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
believe it or not, I mean, they kind of take a second look at parents that seem like they
Mhm.
care. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I would be visible.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely
important.
in contact. I think, yes.
Mr. Charles says the other day I got into a dispute online with someone who was offended by my
Yeah.
expression early intervention. Wow, Mr. Charles. Why
There's
would
that
they
stigma. I think
think?
it's that stigma again.
Mhm,
I think,
mhm,
again, people see early intervention means my child is delayed,
mhm,
or something's wrong with my child. And there have been so many accounts of children who received early intervention and
mhm.
they ended up thriving in school, no longer needed the supports, and they were able to be mainstreamed
'Cause they got that help.
because they got that early. And I
Mhm,
try to, even in my trainings, I try to mention that just to
mhm.
let parents know that there is hope. I mean, you never know. Get
Yeah,
them the support now. I'd rather do it now than later.
mhm.
My friend again, a high school teacher, their valedictorian, told her that she recently received an autism diagnosis at 18. She said she told her mom, she said, "Oh, Mom, I don't know, for some reason I keep offending my friends and I don't get their jokes." She said, "I
Oh,
think something is wrong with me." And so her mom asked her, well, do you want
She's
to?
one of those literal.
Yes, yes, didn't get it. Everyone else laughing, and they're like, huh, I
Be
don't
like,
get it.
I don't get
Yeah,
it.
and she's offending them, but brilliant, smart, valedictorian, very smart. But the
Mhm.
social cues, right? And
Mhm.
received testing, and she was diagnosed with valedictorian. See,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that they're going to be, in the lowest school
Right.
setting, but we
Mhm.
want to get them those supports now so that they will understand those little social cues and again, parents can advocate for the proper supports because teachers should accommodate and they should support them. But a lot of times, teachers, I mean, if you're not advocating, they're not going to do it. So,
So, speaking of teachers, what barriers do teachers have when supporting
mhm,
neurodiverse
yeah,
students? What kind of barriers are there for
yeah.
them?
I think number one, lack of knowledge about the disability.
Mhm.
And that's something going back to what you asked me about parents. I think parents should learn about autism.
Okay.
They should understand that diagnosis, right? And
Mhm.
again, it differs for each of our children, but learn enough about it and know your child so that you
Yeah.
can properly advocate, right? But I
Mhm.
think a lot of teachers, just the lack of knowledge, and then some of them are honestly afraid.
Wow.
We fear what we don't know,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's
And
true.
so I think maybe a little intimidated,
Mhm.
and apprehensive, I'm not a special ed teacher. I didn't go to school for this, and so I just think from the lack of knowledge. I don't know, you're smiling but you'd be so surprised. Yeah,
Okay.
because they just don't know. And I even had
So
an
would it be would that be something to have teachers maybe have a workshop or a class on
yes.
autism?
Yeah, and
You
that's
know,
what I
that would
do. That's
benefit.
my business. So that is my
Yeah.
business. I provide
Okay.
professional
Okay.
development. That's what above all consulting does. We
Okay.
provide professional development for
Yeah.
teachers specifically to work with children with
Children.
special
Well,
needs.
that's awesome. We
Yeah.
definitely need it.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yes, yes. And so I
So,
do focus on preschool though, and I've gone
okay.
into kindergarten. Maybe go up. I could maybe first grade, but it's the early years,
Yeah,
and we
that early
provide
intervention.
early intervention, and we provide that professional development. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what does true inclusion for you? What does true inclusion in the classroom setting
Mhm.
mean for you?
Yeah. So definitely a place of belonging, a sense of belonging for all of the students, not just the special needs, all of the students. Any accommodations that are needed to be in place. And
Mhm.
that may mean that the lessons that the children receive, they receive some type of differentiated instruction, right? Because children learn differently. And
Mhm.
so and also the culture of the child,
Okay.
is considered because that's another thing. It's not just, and I try to explain this to the educators, it's not just a disability, but their culture at home. We want to consider that their environment at home and where their parents are when it comes to the child's disability. And so in the classroom, we just really want all children to feel like they belong and that they're a part of that classroom community. So
Yeah.
that's inclusion on the early level, like mine. That's could be so simple: pictures on the wall with parents, names on the cubbies, a sense of
Yeah.
belonging, right? But as they get older, you still want them to feel a part of that school community. And I love
Mhm.
it when the children embrace children on the spectrum. They
Mhm.
can be a part of the football team or the cheerleading squad, or they can be a part of these different
That's
clubs.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and they embrace them and they sort of
Mhm.
buddy, they
Mhm.
make buddies with them so that they can thrive and just be a part of that school community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So
inclusion.
now let's move on to business.
Yeah,
Now, how does your business support teachers to meet the needs of diverse learners?
yes. And
First,
so,
tell us the name
okay,
above all.
Above All Consulting LLC.
Okay.
That's my for profit, but I also have a nonprofit.
Okay.
Above All Greater Learning.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, and both basically do the same thing, but I have the nonprofit because I'd like to provide free services when
Okay.
needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the nonprofit is really more for daycares, franchises, mom and pop
Mm-hmm.
places,
Okay.
home daycares where there may not be a budget or
Okay.
even an understanding that teachers need to be trained to work with children with
Mm-hmm.
autism.
Mm-hmm.
So the for-profit may be, the Head Start programs, those who understand that professional development is needed, right? They have that budget. They understand that it's really built in to their programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we never want to turn anyone away. So we definitely utilize grants to be able to offer services for free through the
Mm-hmm.
nonprofit. And in fact, what we're doing through the nonprofit, we're working on a developmental screening project, really excited. So we really want to go into child care centers and screen children for free. And therefore,
That's awesome.
support the educator and parents with the support to refer if needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
if
like
not,
that.
just let the educator know where their child is developmentally so they'll know how to implement lesson plans that will support their development and growth. But yeah, both businesses, primarily professional development and training. We'll
Mhm.
consult, we can work on curriculum policy. We want
Okay.
policies in place to support
Mm.
our children and families. I was going to give you my statistics here,
Okay.
Nita. So 5.4% of young children with disabilities have been suspended or expelled from preschool, compared to
Suspended,
one
really?
compared to 1.2% of children. So that's 50,000 children are suspended every year from childcare.
Wow.
17,000 are expelled every year from childcare. So that's 250 preschoolers are asked to temporarily or permanent leave daycare. These are children with disabilities.
Wow. That's a hefty number.
Yes. So
But
every day,
yeah.
yeah, preschools are asking children with disabilities to leave. And when I ask why, it's because of behavior, they say,
Mhm.
primarily. And so
And they
that's
don't
a problem.
understand.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. And so that is a problem. And
Mm.
that shows that there is a growing need for support. And what happens is if you suspend a child in preschool, then you sort of set that precedent for how maybe education will look for that child moving forward.
Right.
So now we're going into elementary, right?
Mhm.
And just think about the experience that they had prior to that, not only for the child, but also for the parent. And you're saying it's because of behavior.
Yeah.
What behavior? Yeah. I mean, granted, there are some children, with behaviors. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
we
yeah.
know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but when we don't give them an opportunity, or we're just
Mhm.
not even allowing them to be a part of this setting because we don't know what to do with them, that's just not acceptable to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's why
So you
we're here.
shared with us that, but what was that moment where you sat down and said, "I'm gonna do
Mhm.
this is something
Oh, that's a
that's
good one.
needed."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So during the pandemic,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
when we
Okay.
were at home, yeah, we were still serving our children online,
Okay.
teaching them Head Start.
Okay.
Yeah, we were
Mhm.
still providing support, everyday lesson plans, and sending things to the homes,
Mhm.
and all of that. But then I thought, I may need a little backup plan just in case, because we don't know what all of this is, right? And then plus I was really getting burnt out and frustrated in that
Okay.
particular,
Mhm.
setting. And I felt like it was just time for me to move on. And so I always had a lot of, I don't know, success with supporting classroom teachers. I
Mhm.
seem to be able to connect with them. And I think because I am a parent of a child, with disability. So I'm able to build rapport and maybe trust
Okay.
a little faster than some. And so I thought, well, why not kind of do this on the side, offer my services. And so I registered my LLC about 5 years ago, February 1st. And I kid you not, 2 weeks later, I got a call just out of the blue from someone that said, hey, would you be willing to train my staff?
Mhm.
And I thought, great confirmation. Then I said, okay, so it's definitely needed. Yeah. And so
Okay.
now, yeah, I hopefully get solicitations from others, just, wanting my services. And
It's
yeah,
definitely a needed service.
it's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, yeah, a
Now,
needed.
have you had any hiccups starting getting
Well, yeah,
clients?
I mean, it hasn't really gotten to the point where I'm just thriving,
Right.
where I'm able, because ideally I want to bring in other coaches,
Okay.
consultants, people to work. And we're getting there. We're building. So we are building. I do have a contract with the Office of Head Start,
Okay.
where I do on the LLC side, where I actually go to different Head Starts throughout the US, and I
Mm.
observe using an instrument called Class. And it's an assessments, tool that Head Start uses. And so
Mm.
I've been fortunate to have that as a part of my business. And that's not really the early intervention so far as me training and providing professional development, but it does support the business, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so let me
Mhm.
say that. But I really want to do more of that, the training and yeah, and helping childcare centers, increase their capacities, empower
Okay.
those teachers so that
You
they,
ready?
yeah, we gotta take our kids out now. Don't do that.
Yes. Yeah.
No, leave our babies alone. They need to be with all the other children so that they
Yes.
can learn and get that
Mhm.
exposure.
Yes,
'Cause again, we just
definitely.
don't know how much of a difference that can make,
Mhm.
for our children. I just really think it can make a difference. So,
And
yeah,
you can, and you
yes,
are.
I believe we
You're
are.
there.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
yeah. And again, it's the whole mindset thing. If anything, I hope that through this our professional development, we are helping to shift mindsets.
Mhm.
One and what 31 now, children. So they're here.
Yep.
They're not
There
going
you
anywhere. And
right.
shame on the public schools to not be prepared to receive
Yep.
our
Oh,
children.
yeah. It
I
is
feel
it's
like
a
they
shame.
failed. They have failed our
Mhm.
children.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's not. I'm not going to blame the
In a
teacher.
lot of ways.
Yes, and so come on, we have to do better. We have to do better. So yeah, we're getting there. Again, I think this developmental screening tool might be a great avenue for us to get into more early intervention support where we can partner with a lot of agencies who already do this, but they're not as mobile. So they won't actually go into, these schools. They will ask the parents to come to them, for
Mhm.
evaluations and stuff. But if we're mobile, if we're going out into the schools, out into the centers, we're screening, we're supporting mom and dad, giving them the resources. Would you like help with this referral? So this is what you should expect. There will be an evaluation team. They're going to call you in and they're going to assess your child. They're going to ask you questions. It's going to be a long meeting. They may say have words that you don't understand. We can be there for you, with you. We can
Mhm.
be with the parent every step of the way. Whatever
Beautiful.
we can do to help. Yeah, because it's a
Mhm.
lot. It's overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. An
Yeah,
IEP meeting alone.
can be over. And that was one of my next questions too, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Now, I wanna know, how has being Danielle's mother
Yeah.
shaped you in what you are doing right now?
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's definitely helped me to know my purpose. And
Okay.
I think even I'm not going to say accept me as me being her mom, but just to know that even being her mom has purpose, you know.
Okay.
And for her right now, I'm working with her on you need to get a job. You
Mhm.
know, I don't want you to
Mhm.
be home every day. I want you to be productive and helping her just to understand that. And so now she knows, like one day, you're going to go to work with me, and you're going to do something. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I think
Be
it's important to
productive.
see me work, yeah, and help other people because a big part of what we are here to do, I believe, is to serve. And so I want
Mhm.
her to see mom serving because
Okay.
she can serve too in her own way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mr. Charles wants to know what part of North Carolina.
yeah,
He asks because his wife and I lived in Charlotte for a
yeah,
couple of years.
yeah. So I am in Charlotte.
Oh,
And we praying the Panthers gonna do it this weekend. But yes, I'm in I'm in Charlotte. Yes, yeah.
okay.
We lived in Winston Salem, um, yeah, for a number of years. Danielle's dad is from Winston, but I moved back to Charlotte maybe 6 years ago. My family is here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. My
So
parents.
there's your answer, Mr. Charles, right
Yeah,
from where you live.
oh, yeah. And I travel, so we're open. We don't just serve North Carolina,
Oh, that's
so we will
wonderful.
go anywhere. We mainly
Workshops
meet,
and what have you.
yes,
Okay.
virtual. I
Okay.
supported a group of educators in Denver, Colorado, in
Okay.
fact. And so I offered them professional development, via Zoom
Oh yeah.
for about
There you
6 weeks. So we
go.
can yeah, we can work it out.
Mhm.
Just let me know the need. Weekends, evenings, I really try to be accommodating.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
that's beautiful. Now, getting to the parents. What advice would you give parents um, who are at the start of their autism journey who feel overwhelmed?
Yeah. You see how I did that? You see, probably a millennial parent or Z, they'd be like, so I'm going to work on this. It's a mind, still again, it's a mindset thing.
My
Yeah, yeah. They'll probably be excited. This is great. You're going to learn a superpower. And they do. Yeah. Um, I would just really encourage them not to lose hope,
okay.
and not to try to figure it all out right now, but just really pace themselves and just learn as much as they can
Mhm.
about, the diagnosis and again, their child, right?
Okay. Mhm.
Because our children are different
Mhm.
and the needs can change. So
Definitely.
like right now, my daughter has a lot of sensory processing needs.
Mhm.
I have to give her a lot of squeezes and I laugh. I love DeAndre and his dancing and his jumping. I live for it. He's the star.
That
He's the
is a
star.
routine, a morning routine for
Yeah.
sure.
And so, you will have to learn if they may need,
Mhm.
certain things. So I just believe early on, though, it can be overwhelming. So I
Mhm.
would just say pace yourself too, and then find out about resources. And then if you're able to get support from other parents, I am a part of different Facebook groups. And,
Okay.
and so I know of other parents whose children are on the spectrum. And I just think it's nice. I don't know.
Mhm.
Hopefully you have that too, Nita. I know you
Mhm.
have your nonprofit, but hopefully you
Yeah.
have a personal community,
Oh
family,
yeah. Yep. Yep.
friends. Okay.
You
Yeah.
need it. You
Mhm.
need it. I've met some wonderful people right
Okay.
here online.
Good. Good.
Yep.
Good. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, just don't be alone. And then,
Yeah.
maybe not assume that your friends who don't have children,
Mhm.
on the spectrum may not embrace you and understand. Because I used to
Mhm.
do that a lot. I used to apologize for her a lot,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
not want to take her to certain outings and settings. And then finally, I had some friends like, "Why you? We know how Danielle is. Just bring her. It's okay.
It's okay.
They're like, it's you. We're looking at you. She's fine.
Let her be who she is
Exactly.
and
And it's like,
enjoy
it's
herself.
feel like you're the one tripping, really, Yolanda.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say kind of pace yourself. Yeah. And just learn all that you can.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's going to take
Oh,
some time. It's a journey. It's a journey.
definitely.
Yeah.
Now, what would you want to tell a teacher a quick message that may have a potential child that's on the spectrum coming to the
Mhm.
classroom?
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
I would tell them to be open minded and to learn about the child individually. Because again, I think as I am providing support, professional development, and training, what I have to often say throughout in the beginning of my trainings and throughout that there are no generalities when it comes to, you know, the characteristics of a child with autism. They can be so different. You may have a child who's an extremely picky eater because of textures, for example. They were only going to do chicken nuggets and fries, like my daughter. But then it could be like my nephew, he eats everything and he's nonverbal, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just be really careful, kind of boxing them in and just saying they all, yeah, they can have some similarities. Yeah, some, but they can still be so different.
Mm,
So as a teacher, I would just ask that you take the time to learn the child, to connect with the family
yeah.
if possible, because that will help. And just know that, working together. And when I mentioned those statistics to you, I forgot to mention when I train and I tell them about the 17,000 expelled and 50,000. Walter Gilliam, he's a big advocate in the field of early childhood, and he's written many books and articles. He's pretty famous. He said that he's never seen a child with a disability be expelled from school when the teacher and the parent get along. And so, for some reason, if they're able to work together, if they're able to collaborate, for some reason, no matter how bad that behavior is, how much of a challenge that child is, they still can remain in school.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely something to that partnership
Mm.
with the
Oh,
parent
yeah,
teacher.
definitely.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah. So,
Mm. So now, what does hope look like for you when
mm,
you think of your baby? I call all of them babies. I don't
they
care how
all, yeah, yeah.
when you think of your baby and other children like her,
Mm,
what does hope look like for the future?
yeah. Um, just thriving, productive lives. And that can look different, for each of them. For my baby, I would love for her to be able to live independently. Yeah, yeah, because she's pretty attached. There's some codependency here. Okay,
Yes.
let's be real. So she's all I got, and so, but I definitely know I'm not going to live forever. So I think that's some of our fear as a parent. What will happen when we pass away?
Mm-hmm.
What will our child do? Be able to
Mm-hmm.
do? So I want her to be able to live, independently and be productive. I would love for her to, find some worth, some value with her life and sort of understand, what that means, And so for any child, I just would want them, yeah, just to be, I guess, cliche, the best that they can be,
Okay.
because it will differ, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So finally,
Yeah.
let's sum up your business. Share some things, a little more about your business and
Okay.
how uh, anyone who's interested can contact you, get in touch with you.
Yes. So by email, and both businesses have websites as well, but aboveallconsult.com and then aboveallgreaterlearning.org are the websites. And then there are places there on the website to reach out to me. But you can email me at Yolanda at aboveallconsult.com or
Okay.
Yolanda at aboveallgreaterlearning.org. How about that?
Okay.
So you can reach out to me, and we do have a business page on Facebook, Above All Consult, where I
Okay.
post, and we try to have a big LinkedIn presence too. Is that
Uh-huh.
DeAndre?
Yeah.
I can see him.
His
Okay.
his remote has
Okay.
the batteries done died.
Okay. So
Mm,
yeah, so we're definitely on LinkedIn, Yolanda L. Brannon, and then
okay.
Above All Greater Learning on LinkedIn. We're really big there, hoping to connect with school systems and
Mm,
educators and administrators. But
yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay.
so the business, we're just going to continue to grow. Again, we got this developmental screening project. We're working
Mhm.
on getting a grant, some funding for it. And
Okay.
so, those grants can be a beast.
Okay. Yeah.
Writing the
Yeah.
grants and hoping to receive some support, and a fundraiser in 2026 too, and that will be on our
Goodness.
website. So, yeah, so we're
Okay.
hoping to grow.
Give me the box, DeAndre. So the video will be up because we usually have people come back and
Perfect.
review.
Yes.
So make sure you put your contact information website in the chat
Okay.
area.
I will.
That
Okay.
way so people could come back to it.
Yeah.
If it give me the whole box, please. He's gonna bug me about these apples.
No, I love it. He's a star now. He's a star of the show.
Oh
We
yeah.
understand,
Mhm.
DeAndre.
Well, I should say finally now, what do you want everyone to take away from our discussion tonight? What would
Yeah.
you what would you like everyone to take away from
Yeah. Just don't be afraid to dream uh, of all the possibilities for your child.
this? Mhm.
Don't limit them because of, you know, um, their disability or their diagnosis. But hey, we're going to take a page out of the millennial and the Z book. We're going to celebrate their gifts. We
Yes.
know that this is a
So,
blessing.
mhm.
Yeah, and we're gonna just really advocate, for our children so that they can thrive and be better than us. I think any parent wants their child to be better and to achieve more,
Definitely. Mhm.
and so just don't be afraid to dream, you know, because our children, that's right. Because they are a gift and we
Yeah.
were chosen. I
Mhm.
think, I hear that all the
Mhm.
time. You're chosen, you must be special. I am, but I think so. I think so. Yeah, I agree.
You agree. That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes, we are. We're special. Yeah, so yeah, I just have a heart for our children, and educationally, I want them to be able to just be in that setting, just like any other child. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Inclusion is the word.
Inclusion, and
Yeah.
parents need that break to work, to do other things as well.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah.
You got to take care of yourself so you can
We
best
didn't
take
talk as
care of
much
them.
about, but yeah, that's a key thing, and I'm learning that myself.
Yeah.
It's
Gotta take
okay
some
to
breaks.
take a yes,
It's
100%.
okay to say I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And let me just say to you, Nita, I so appreciate what you're doing. I
Mhm.
love your platform, and I
Oh,
love
thank
your
you.
son. We
And I
love.
wish you were here for our sweatpants and mimosas outing.
Oh,
Yeah, that
that
we
sounds.
do that every year. So for the moms, it's another way for us to get away, leave the kids home,
Mhm,
and just come out, enjoy a time with other caregivers, and you
nice.
know listen to some talks. But yeah, we
Oh,
do it every
I love
year.
it.
Have a mimosa and a
Oh,
snack.
even better.
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
nice. Well, maybe next year you do it every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
slowly but surely growing, get bigger
Okay.
and bigger. So I'm
Okay.
hoping one of these years I can meet in the middle, like maybe go to a state in the middle
Hmm.
and just have one big old shindig.
Yes, so we'll come to you too. I've never been in your
Mhm.
state. Just have to prepare, get ready. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, wonderful. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
it was so nice having you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing. And don't
Yes.
forget to put your information in the chat area just
Okay.
in case you never know who will come by.
Yeah, I
Um,
will.
and I appreciate you. And I will see you online.
See you online. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
All
bye.
right.
Bye.
Bye bye.